welcome to the May edition of the community call from ToolJet. Thank you, all of you, for taking out time on Friday to join this particular call. We do this community calls every month, mostly during the end of the month, to discuss around what is going on in the ToolJet community and also to uh, share about what are the latest features and updates that we have um, in the ToolJet in ToolJet application. All right. So in today's call also, as you can see that the title, we will be I'll be sharing more about what are the new enhancements and features that we have on ToolJet database, and we'll also be building an application on top of that. So without any further ado, let me quickly jump onto the agenda of the call. So as I mentioned, I'll be starting with some of the discussing about some of the new features and enhancements that we have on ToolJet database, and then we'll be building an inventory management application using features like primary keys, foreign keys, and everything. We'll be using ToolJet App Builder for creating this application from scratch. All right. So before I jump onto the ToolJet database, I would like to give a quick shout out to all the community template contributors. Thank you so much, Ranit, Salim, and Sadaf for contributing to ToolJet. We are looking forward for more such contributions from the contributors so that we can give more such shout outs in the calls. Okay. Awesome. So let me quickly start with the ToolJet database. So let me put this here. Cool. Now, when you go to app.tooljet.com, and if you are logged in, it will take you to your workspace, and then you can quickly go to ToolJet database. So this is the database interface that we have. Now, the first thing that I'll be talking about is the primary key. So what are the enhancements that we have done in primary keys? So in order to explain that, let me quickly create one database, one table basically. I'll start with event registration. Okay. And as you can see that there is a pre-populated. So previously also we used to have this pre-populated column in that every table that we create in ToolJet database, but and you were not able to remove or change anything in that, right? So now what you can now you can do that with the new enhancements that we have done. So you can, let's add one more column, event let's say event track, and then you add a data type and just check this checkbox and remove this, and you can delete this. This is how you can remove the pre-populated ID. As you can see that I was able to add multiple primary keys. That means we now can add composite primary keys in ToolJet database. So for that, let me show you that feature using, let me first add some more columns first. All right. So as you can see, we have a checkboxes present over here. So once you click on this checkbox, these two are now composite primary key. That means the combination of the data that you enter in these columns should be a unique combination of data, irrespective of if the individual columns have unique data or not. Let me explain you this thing using an example. Okay. So also, if you hover over this, you can see that it's a composite primary key, right? Yeah. Let me add some data. Uh, in event track, we can add, let's say, React. Here you can add gmail.com and here. All right. Now, once you click on create, it will add the entry. Let me try to add the same combination and let's see what happens. Let me add React and all right, now let's add name also. And when you try to create this, you can see that it didn't allow me because it's not a unique combination over here, right? So let's try adding the same event track and different email. Okay, let's try to create this, and you can see that even though the individual item in the column is similar, the combination should be unique, and that's the main purpose of adding a composite primary key. Awesome. So this was all about the primary key. Now I'll quickly jump onto the new feature that we have added, that is adding a foreign key relation between the tables. To explain that, I'll be using two tables. First is the product table. The product table looks like this. We have product ID, we have name, price, and category. All right. And second is the inventory table. In inventory table also we have primary key as inventory ID, location, stock, and product ID. As you might have guessed that I'll be using these two tables in order to create the inventory management application that I just mentioned in Agenda, right? I have to build an application from scratch and I'll be utilizing these two tables only for that application. All right. So this is the product table that I mentioned, and this is the inventory table. And you can see that we have product IDs in both of these. And I want to build a foreign key relation between the product IDs of both these tables. So how can I do that? You can go to edit columns and then you can click on foreign key relation here. And here we have the interface where you can manage all things that are needed to be managed in foreign key relation. So here we have some terminologies that I would like to talk about. First is source table. So here source table means the table on which you are creating the foreign key constraint. Okay, basically the place where you're creating the foreign key is the source table for us. Second is the target. Target is the place where you are storing the foreign key columns reference. Basically the other table where you are connecting the source table with. In our case, product table is the source table. So I'll be creating the product table, product table in the target as a target table, and column will be the product ID. Okay. Just to clarify again, source table is the place where you are creating a foreign key constraint, and target is basically where the reference is been stored. We also have actions that I'll be discussing once I completely explain you about the foreign key. So we'll be coming back to the actions in a while. Let's first create this. Okay, I hold on. There is some issue over here. Let me try doing it again. Okay. Insert or update and we will constraint. Okay, there is some issue with that. Let me try clearing the data over here so that from both the table. We'll be adding the data in which ways once we start creating the application. The data was any which ways dummy, so for that reason. All right, let's try doing it again. Let's add product and let's add product ID and let's create this. Awesome. So we were able to create the foreign key relation here. And you can see it here as well. Let's save the changes. And as soon as you hover over this, you'll see that there is a foreign key relation between the product ID of this table and the product ID of the product table. Now, I also want to show you one more thing. Let's try adding some ID and location as, let's say, warehouse A. And let's keep this as default. And as soon as you click here, okay, we do not have items in product. So let's add a product first so that I'll show you that. Let's say it's a t-shirt. Price, you can add something, and category, let's say it's clothing. Okay. Let's add one more data so that I can show you more things in the inventory table. Let's add a table here, price something, and category as furniture. Okay. So we have two items now here in inventory table. Let's quickly create a new row, some ID and location as warehouse A. And now as soon as I click here, you can see that I'm getting IDs from the table which has a foreign key relation. You can even open that in the new tab by just clicking on open the reference table. Here you can see the items corresponding to those IDs. And let's say I want to choose t-shirt, which has 4223 as the, hold on, yeah, as the ID. Okay, that is, yeah. So now what I'll do is I'll go back to the inventory table and I'll try to add a data. with some ID and location, let's say warehouse A, and here we'll be adding this and hit create. All right. So now you can see that we have created that entry, and this is how you can, create a foreign key and you can add a data. You'll always get a drop down, and so that it's easy for you to select and just add an entry. Now let's quickly jump on to the actions that I was talking about. Okay, so we have actions. So what is the meaning of actions here? So whenever you try to modify a target table, that is a product table in our case, what will happen to your source table? So any modifications that you make in your target table, what is the corresponding modification will happen to your source table? So there are two operations that we usually perform. The first is the on update and second is on remove. So we have four options here. First is restrict, second is cascade, set null, and set default. It's same for both of these. All right. Meaning of restrict is it whenever you try to delete the record from the product table or a target table, it will not allow you to delete like it won't let you delete any item from product table, right? Because it has a reference connected with that. Similarly for cascade, every time you remove something from the target table, that is the product table, the corresponding reference which is stored in the inventory, it will just be removed. I'll be giving you some examples. Let me give you some examples first to explain how actions work here. All right. Cool. So if you see the product table, I have two items here. One of them is already have like it's been added in the inventory. So let me also add one more item here in the inventory. Okay, so that we have things to discuss around. Let's add warehouse P and product ID as this. And let's quickly create this. All right. So we have two items here as well now. Now we have a restrict as an action for on remove. So let's see what happens if we try to remove any of these. So if you click on remove, if you try to delete a row, it won't let you delete because on update and on delete are the foreign key constraints that you are adding. Actions are basically the constraint that you are adding to your foreign key relation. All right. Cool. Now, if you try to change the action, okay, let's try to change an action from restrict to cascade. So we have on remove, we have cascade now. So let's see what happens in cascade. So we are choosing the product name with the ID 2342, that is a table. And and if you see the corresponding entry, we are storing that in warehouse A. I'm just letting you know that what we are removing and what will happen if we try to remove. So if you go to table and if you try to delete a row here, and if you go to inventory now, you can see that entry has been removed. Okay, this is how you can perform the cascade operation. If you want to learn more about actions and more about the foreign key feature in ToolJet database, you can always go to docs.tooljet.com/docs and you can search for foreign key and it will take you to this documentation. So everything is here. You can learn about actions as well here. You can just go to actions and you can read more about it. And you can add multiple other functionalities in your applications that you build in ToolJet. Okay, so these are super helpful features that you can add to add some more functionality, to add some more security to your data. So yeah, cool. Coming back to this, now, as I already mentioned before, we'll be using inventory table and product table to build an application that is an inventory management application in ToolJet. So before I start building the application, I would like to show you the application first so that you get a glimpse of what we are going to build. Okay. So if you go to this is how the application looks like. We have a header container, we have tab container where we have three tabs: product tab, inventory tab, overview. In header, we have this analytics where you will get all the analytics of what you have in the inventory and product. In inventory, we have one modal where you will be able to add products, and in product you have a modal where you can add products, and in inventory you have again one modal where you can add inventory. Okay, and in overview we are joining these two table and getting all the data that we have in inventory and in product. Okay, and here we'll be using the foreign key relation and we'll join the tables. Cool. I'm super excited to build this from scratch, and I guess I shouldn't be wasting any more time and just, jumping into building this application. All right, so I'll start with this. Name it inventory management application. All right, let's start. Let me start, creating this. So I believe you must be familiar with this interface. This is the ToolJet app builder where you have components on the right hand side and you have query manager where you write queries to get data and update data to any of the data sources that you have selected. All right. So we'll start with the header part, that is the header container. I'll drag and drop the container here and stretch it out, and let's give the border radius of 8 pixel. That should be fine. Also add some color. So I love blue color, so I just keep everything blue. Even ToolJet is blue. So yeah. All right. Now let's drag and drop text component where we'll be adding ToolJet. And in styles, I'll make it 20. My bad. I'll make it as 20. Should be bold. Color, let's make it white. And let's add some letter spacing. It should be 6. This looks nice. Okay. In ToolJet, really good thing about this app builder is you can copy paste all the modified components that you have, so that you don't have to, drag and drop again from the component builder and modify it again. You can just modify it once and then you can reuse it the way you want to. Okay. I'll type here inventory management. Okay. Okay, I don't want the similar style, so I'll just make this normal, and also I don't want letter spacing, so I'll just make it one. Cool, this looks nice. Okay, if I can move it a little above, yeah, this is nice. Let's add the analytics also. For that, again, I'll be needing a container. Okay, I'll make it little short. Okay, I need I need to change the color. Let's make it little transparent so that I can have a light bluish color. Yeah, little more. And I do not want any borders, so I'll just make this as full transparent. Okay, yeah, this looks nice. All right. So now we again have to drop the text component that is for in stock. Okay. Since we are into HTML, we can add break tags here, and then we can add some number. Okay. All right. This is not looking good right now, but let's make it good. All right. Let's keep the font size as 18 and let's make it a little bolder. And we change the color to green. All right, not bad. Uh, Again, we have to copy paste the component and we have to change this to, uh, let's say, out of stock. All right, I have to change the color to something like this. Okay, I have to increase the width also so that it looks nice. All right. So I again here also I just need a component like this on left hand side. So I'll just take this here and I'll change the text products and color should be white. And here again text should be locations. And yeah, I missed changing color. Let me do that. Let's make it yellow. All right. This was it for the header. Now it's time to create, time to add tab component. And this is where the magic lies, right? So that's what we'll be doing. In tab component, let's first remove all the redundant components that we don't need. And I guess that's it. We'll be needing 3 tables. So we'll be using that. Now it's time to change the tab names. It's products, inventory, and overview. Awesome. This looks nice. So also we need to keep this like keep it like this because we'll be adding the modal button over there. All right. Now we'll just copy paste the table just to make it quick, and this is done. It's time to add a modal now. So I'll just drag and drop this and we change the size and just place it here. This modal will be used to add products. So we'll be naming the title as product, add products, add product basically, not products. Also the trigger button label will be add product. Yeah, this looks nice. So if you click on this, you'll see a modal over here. Since we are just adding three input elements in the modal, we don't need this much of width. I'll be making a small modal, changing the modal to size of small, and also height to 300 pixels because this is what I need. All right. I'll be needing the similar type of modal in inventory because here also we have only three input types. So yes, and this will be add inventory, and the button label should be add inventory as well. All right. So if you click on this, we'll see add inventory. So this is the boilerplate that I have created now. Now it's time to add some functionality to this, some integration with databases. So first step would be to get product data. So for that, I'll be adding a query of get products. The table should be the product table and operation should be list row. List row is basically helps you get all the data from the database. So preview will let you, preview the data if it is coming or not. And we already have one item here and it is showing. Now, in order to integrate that with the table, you have to go in table and in data, you just type queries dot get products dot data. Okay. And as soon as you run it, it will show the data in this table. Awesome. So we have done with our first query to get products. That is nice. Now we have to add a product, and for that I'll need to add some input elements in the model. All right. The first input element is the text input, that is to add a name of a product. Okay. So I'll just drag and drop this and change the label to name. Second is I need to add a number input. So I'll just drag and drop the number. This looks nice and I'll just increase the size to this. And this will be price. Cool. Next we have a we need to add a drop down. So drop down is for adding categories. So I'll rename it to category. All right. For whenever you add a drop down component, you have to add two things. First is the option values, which are the values which will be taken, and option labels, that is the values that you'll see in the drop down. So I already have the data for that. I'll just quickly fetch and paste it here. You can add anything that you want in categories. I have these categories for my application, so I'll be using this. So, and I do not want a default value. Okay, so yeah, this is how it looks like. And last is I'll just need to add a submit button so that I can click it and it will submit the data to the database. All right. This will be a submit button. Submit button. Okay. This looks nice. Now it's time to add a query for the same. It will be add product, and the table will be the product table, and we need to add a row, so it's create row. So we will be adding some columns: product ID, name, price, and category. All right. So our product ID will be generating a new ID every time we add an entry, and for that we'll be using a moment.value of that will help you, uh, you know, it will basically give you current time in milliseconds, which will be a unique ID for each entry that you make. Then let's quickly fetch name. So you have to add a text input component dot the component name. So in our case, it's text input one, text input one dot value. Then we have price, that is the number input, components dot number input dot value. Then we have category, that is components dot drop down dot value. Okay, everything looks nice here. Let's add some event handlers. So we'll be adding three event handlers. First is to close to modal. So let's close the modal first. In our case, it's modal one. So we'll just choose the modal one. Next event handler is to show a alert on success query, and it should be a success alert. So, and let's name it product added. Okay. Then we have to refetch the data because we have updated the data by adding one row to the database. So that will be running a query to get the products again in the table. All right. You can also add failure queries and everything. There's multiple things that you can do, but for now we'll be keeping it simple. All right. Everything looks nice on query side. Let's add the event handler on the button so that on click, we will be running a query to add a product. All right, this looks nice. Let's quickly test this out. Let's add shirt, or let's add some shoes. Shoes. Price could be anything and it will be under footwear. And just submit it. Cool. It looks like it worked, right? So let's drag and drop the product ID here so it looks nice. Cool. So you can see shoes here with the price and category. So we were able to do that successfully. So congratulations to all of us. Now let's quickly add inventory. So it will be the similar process to that I did for products. So I'll just add this get, I'll be using get inventory, and I'll be using the inventory table here to list rows. Let's test this out. Okay, we are getting the data. Let's connect this to the database, to the table in the UI. So it's queries dot get inventory dot data. Awesome. If you run it, you'll see an inventory data in the table. For add inventory, we'll be adding some input elements. The first will be the product. Okay, so it will be a drop down. So we have to select a product from the products that we are entering from the last tab, right? So this will be a product. So here I want to, explain one thing, that here we are storing product IDs, but in the dropdown we will be showing product names. And that's the reason in the dropdown option labels will be the names, but the values that we want to send in the database will be the product IDs. And to do that, we'll be using queries dot get products dot data, and I'll just map out the names here. Okay. I dot name. Sorry. Yeah. So I got the names, and here in option value, I'll just change name to product ID. ID. Awesome. This looks nice. Let's remove the default value. Cool. Next, we just need to drag and drop one more drop down element that will be for the locations, right? We need warehouse locations here so that we can add it in the inventory. All right. This will be location. And I already have the location data with me, so I'll just fetching them and just pasting in the values and also in the labels. All right, cool. Now the only thing we're left with here in terms of input is the radio button that will be for in stock uh, value. Okay, so this will be if the inventory is in stock or not. In stock. All right, this looks good. Let's add a submit button and then we are good to go for creating a query for adding an inventory. All right, this will be a submit button. Let's open the query manager and quickly add the query for adding an inventory. This will be for inventory, and we need to create a row. Let's add columns for here quickly. Product ID, locations, and last is stock. All right, for inventory ID, again, I'll be using moment value to generate the unique IDs. For product ID, let's see, it's drop down to, so I'll be writing components dot drop down to dot value, and next is drop down 3, so I'll just copy paste here and make it a drop down 3, and last is the radio button, so it's components dot radio button dot value. Cool, this is done. Let's quickly add event handlers. Here again, I'll be adding an event handler to close the modal. It's modal 2 in this case. Next is we need to add a show, an alert to show a success message of uh, inventory added. Okay, and last is to add one more uh, handler to just refetch the data, because we are just modifying the table. So we again want to fetch get inventory once this is submitted successfully. Let's add event handler to submit button also. So we want to run the query on click, that is add inventory. All right, this looks nice. Let's quickly test this out. Let's add a t-shirt and to warehouse B, and or let's add a shoes to warehouse E and just submit it. Okay, warehouse E is submitted and everything looks nice. Awesome. This looks nice till now, but now is the major part, that is an overview table. So as I mentioned, we'll be getting all the data from inventory and products. So basically we'll be joining two tables that we have. For that, let's create a query to get overview, and let's add a table name as inventory here. And here you can see an option to join tables, and you have to select the joining table here. As you can see that the product ID got pre-populated because we have that as a foreign key in these tables. As you move down, you'll see an option to select what you want to show and what you want to select in this join table. So we do not want a product ID here because we already have one in the product table. So we'll keep it like that. Also, we want to run this when the application loads. Actually, we want this on in all the get uh, queries. So we'll turn this on for all the get queries. This looks good. Let's try to preview this, and awesome. You can see in result we are getting two entries. Let's quickly integrate that with the table. It will be queries dot get overview dot data dot result. Okay, if we run this, awesome. You can see now all the data that I have in the inventory and product is showing up over here. So you can later you can add some filters on locations or product categories that you want to show it here. As the data grows, it will be difficult for you to see, so that this is really easy for you to just join the table and add filters and everything else. Last thing that we are left with is integrating the analytics. So I'll quickly do that. It won't take us much of time. Analytics. And I already, so in analytics, we have to write a JavaScript code to fetch all the data from overview table and calculate and just show it over here. So for calculations, I'll be using JavaScript to get the data and export it in terms of the constants, and we'll be utilizing these constants to show it the analytics in the header. Okay, so here what I'm basically doing is I'm just getting the data from the overview table and then calculating it using JavaScript, and then just, returning the variables. You can do it in any way that you are comfortable with. Here, this also I want to run when the application loads. Okay, if you try to preview it, hopefully it should show the count. Okay, yeah, you can see everything is there, and let's quickly add that here. Okay, and for that you will need to do queries dot analytics dot data dot products, and cool, you can see product over here. All right, we'll be doing the same for locations, and then you'll see for in stock count, and then you'll see for uh, out of stock as well. Out of stock, yeah, cool. So this is pretty much it. You have your analytics in the in the header component. You have your inventory. You have your products. You have everything in place. And yeah, this was it from my end, as how you can build an application from scratch. I would like to open the podium for questions and queries. If you wanna write it down in the chat, that is also fine. If you wanna unmute and speak about it, you can do it that way as well. So yeah, I'll stop my screen and would love to hear about it.
Uh, I would like to ask about like if I wanted to load the get products, for example, query,
Mhm.
while like I select one of the tabs instead of the application load. Like the tab component has an event that triggers when I select the tab.
Um, is your voice just stopped? Can you come again, Wellington?
Yes. Oh, sorry. So my question is, can you call the get products query, for example,
Mm-hmm.
when you select the products tab on the tabs component?
Okay, you want to trigger that when you are changing it. Okay, yeah, I can
Yeah,
show you.
exactly.
Yeah, I can just share my screen. I can show you how you can do that. So, for example, uh, you can add an event over here in the tabs as well. So here you will see that on tab switch there is an event where you can run a query, and here you
Mm-hmm.
can add queries, whatever query that you want to run. I hope this is what your question was.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what it was. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you so much for asking that. Yep. Anyone else would like to ask anything related to this, or anything in general you want to ask about ToolJet or ToolJet community? I'd love to answer. Awesome. It seems that we do not have any other questions. So we will be closing the call. Thank you so much, each and every one of you, for joining the call again, and have a amazing day ahead.